Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wa bihi nasta'in wa ala umuri dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairi khalqi sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain. Amma ba'd.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you today?
Welcome to Muhādharah Kubra, Inspiration Night and Awarding Night. Thank you for Kiai Samsul Ma'arif Mujiharto, Muslim Shifah, our family and our friends who are joining this event.
I'm Shifa.
And I'm Nisa. We are your MC tonight.
We would like to read the rundown for tonight's event.
First, opening.
Second, Al-Quran and Salawat recitation.
Third, opening remarks.
Fourth, speech.
Fifth, book referral presentation.
Sixth, inspiration night, main session under the theme of Kawal Mimpi, a Santris adventure in a Tekakarn headquarter and Q&A session.
Seventh, awarding night, and the last one, dua and closing.
Before we start this event, let's recite Basmalah together.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The next agenda is Al-Quran and Salawat recitation by Rafifa Syahda. For Mbak Syahda, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya ayyuhalladzina amanu idza qila lakum tafassahu fil majalis Idza qila lakum tafassahu fil majalisi fafsahu yafsahillahu lakum wa idza qila shuzu fanshuzu yarfa'illahu alladhina amanu minkum walladhina utul ilma darajat wallahu bima ta'maluna khabir. Shadaqallahul azim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin tibbil qulubi wa dawaiha wa afiyatil abdani wa shifaiha wa nuril absari wa diyaiha wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin tibbil qulubi wa dawaiha wa afiyatil abdani wa shifaiha wa nuril absari wa diyaiha wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin tibbil qulubi wa dawaiha wa afiyatil abdani wa shifaiha wa nuril absari wa diyaiha wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mbak Syada, for your beautiful recitation. Hopefully, Allah will always shower us with His mercy and blessing. Amin.
Ladies and gentlemen, next is opening remarks by Pengasuh of Pondok Pesantren Afkaruna, Kiai Samsul Ma'arif Mujiharto. For Pak Kiai, the time is yours.
Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hamdan wa syukran lah, salatan wa salaman, daimain mutalazimain ala nabiyina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear educators, principals, directors, mushrif and mushrifah, lovely to see you here in this Muhādharah al-Kubra and inspiration and awarding night for the Santri of Afkarna Secondary Ma'had. Thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this night ni'mah. Salawat and salam be to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which brought us from the darkness to the light, so we can enjoy the beauty of Islam, and we do expect we can get the shafa in the hereafter. Dear Wali Santri, as well as the Santris, Mushrif Mushrifah, and educators and principals. As we know that we have 2 monthly big events. The first is every Malam Jumat Legi. The event is called Afkaruna Global Talks. It's live, it's about the sharing session with the persons and the people living overseas to learn how to live and struggle over there. So we do expect from this kind of talk we can bring our Santri to get how to live independently far away from our beloved persons. And tonight is our second monthly event. This is called Malam Ahad Pahing, and it is called Muhādharah al-Kubra, Inspiration and Awarding Night. This is the way we appreciate the achievement of Santri. Instead of giving punishment, we are trying to give a lot of appreciation to an achievement of Santri every month. We have some categories for this award, and we do believe that Santri is unique, and we need to appreciate the uniqueness of the achievement of the Santri. And this initiative is purely initiated by the pengurus or the committee, and I appreciate a lot to the Lurah of Ma'had of Karuna, as well as the Mushrif Mushrifah who has strongly worked for this event and get this event done very successfully. And then in this night as well, we have a kind of talk. It's like it's called it's an inspiration night, and tonight we are very happy to have Gus Ainun Najib in Singapore. Assalamualaikum, Gus Ainun. Okay, and we have Gus Ainun over there, and we do expect from this every single santri as well as the parents can get silaturahim with Gus Ainun, who is a santri who has been successfully the walls, so he can get struggle and survive living in Singapore. And I think this can be inspirational for our santri, that life is not only here, life is everywhere, and doing da'wah and being a santri can be everywhere, not only here. And again, thank you very much for this initiative, and good luck for this night event. Allah muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Pak Yai, for the speech, for the opening.
All right, now let's listen to the speech by Sophia Ainun. But Sophie, time is yours. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairi khalqi Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Looking at the life of children of my age, we find most of them live and grow up in a very close family. They can easily spend their time to attend a live theater performance, to watch movies, and to play games and gadgets anytime they want. Is that bad? I don't think so. It is relatively fair to say it is good for some children. Let's compare it with santri living in a pesantren. They are away from their loved ones and cannot go to the mall. They cannot even play gadgets all the time. Living in a pesantren, of course, is not a perfect life. But being a santri is definitely my dream for some reasons. First, I need to say that being a santri is a fortune. Why? Because the Kiai will always help us to grow, become a strong mu'min, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. During their lifetime in a pesantren, santri has to develop a habit of waking up early morning, while other children may still sleep. A santri has to study while others may still be playing gadgets and going to the mall. A santri has to share rooms and meals while others enjoy their comfortable air-conditioned rooms and easily find their favorite ice creams, hot dogs, and rendang. I do believe that all of these things will make me stronger. As Pak Kiai always says, life will continue to be more challenging and even harder. What we can do is not to soften the life itself, but to strengthen ourselves. Second,
The story of the struggle for achieving Indonesia's independence had also been colored by stories of strong santri. Together with ulama, santri played a central role in dividing allied forces, sending them away from Indonesia. The struggle was mainly triggered by the jihad resolution announced by Kiai Haji Hashim Ash'ari on October 22nd, 1945. This resolution broke ulama and santri to leave the pesantren and lead the battle. It likely triggered another revolution too on November 10th in Surabaya. This is later celebrated as the Heroes' Day. These two reasons bring me to believe that being a santri is the best choice to face my future and to be ready to face global challenges. Wallahu muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Such a great speech from Mbak Sophie. Thank you, Mbak Sophie, for your speech. After this, we will listen to book review by Iskina Mardatik.
Makina, time is yours. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. How are you today? Okay. Tonight I will review a book. The title is Sasuk. As you know, the title of this book is Sasuk. The genre of this book, horror. The work of Risa Saraswati, published by Bukune. The thickness of this book, 332 pages. Year of publication, first publication, August 2015. In short, this book explains about a girl named Anggi Janaka who was never grateful and always assumed that she was the most unlucky person in this world. She wants a life like her best friend whom she sees very lucky. Whether it's called luck or disaster, God can what she wants. She lives in the body of her best friend who is said to be lucky. But the reality is not like what she thinks. Her best friend also have problems. They're even greater than her own problems. At the end of the story, what she wants is achieved, but the reward what she wants is not easy. She dies after leaving the body of her best friend. She realized everyone has their own problems. So, something that we can learn from this story are always be grateful to our God. Don't see and judge someone from outside because we don't know what happened inside. Don't be too quick to make decision. Why I choose this book? Because this book inspired me to always be grateful to Allah. By the way, if you wanna read this book, you can borrow it in Afarunas library. Much from me, thanks. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
What an interesting book and review. Thank you, Mbak Gina, for your excellent presentation.
Now it's the time for the main session that we have been waiting for, the Inspiration Night.
We are so honored that tonight we will have Gus Ainun Najib as our guest speaker for the talk under the theme.
Kawal Mimpi, a santry's adventure in a Decacorn headquarters. And as our moderator tonight, we will have Bapak Yaswikandias.
So, without further ado, please welcome
Bapak Yaswikandias and Gus Ainun Najib.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hamdan wa syukran lah, salatan wa salaman daiman mutalaziman ala Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dear the Honorable Kiai Samsul Ma'arif Mujiharto as pengasuh of Ma'had Afkaruna, dear all of educators, musyrif musyrifah, all of the hadirin, parents of Afkaruna Secondary, parents of Afkaruna Global Madrasah, as well as all of the santri Afkaruna Islamic School. So here I will be the moderator here, and we will have the main session for tonight. That is the session that talk about santri's adventure in a Decacorn of headquarter. In a Decacorn headquarter. So we will have Gus Ainun Najib here, and our session after this will be very short session. It means for the santri here, you should be active. You should be active for asking, for talking, and so on. So the main session for explanation is only 10 minutes, but then we have 20 minutes for Q&A session. Okay, so now Alhamdulillah, Gus Ainun, and I will read just a little bit about him. So his name is Ainun Najib, Bachelor of Engineering. Now he is living in Singapore, and then he is the head of analytic platform and regional business of Grab. Have you ever heard about Grab? Grab, yes. You know Grab food? Okay. Okay, so yeah, and then he is also one of muassis of Afkaruna Global Madrasah along with Pak Yai Samsul Ma'arif and Kiai Haji Ulunuha. And then he is also the initiator of Kawal COVID as well as Kawal Pemilu. And for tonight, I think we will have Kawal Mimpi of Santri, yeah? The dream of Santri. And then here, Gus Ainun, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'du. So this is quite interesting. This is probably the first time I conduct an English speech with Indonesian audience for the sole purpose of making it a customary or kind of a practice for everyone in English. So it's a bit awkward, to be honest. So, for example, like I don't know how to say yang dimuliakan Allah pada malam hari ini, para kiai. I don't know how to say that in English. So maybe let me try. So the honorable guests, the honorable scholars, ulama, and kiai, and the pengurus of Pondok Pesantren Afkaruna. Thank you so much for having me tonight. Well, the title of the session is very interesting, Kawal Mimpi. So I'll see what I can share about that. But yeah, maybe as a quick introduction, I'll probably share about myself first. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Is that quite clear and readable over there?
Yes, that's clear for us.
Should I make this full screen? Is it better this way?
Yes.
All good this way?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. All right. So I want to share about data and AI era, which is what I do professionally. Currently at Grab, a Decacon, previously at Traveloka, a unicorn. Yeah, maybe we'll start. Who am I? So if I put in my computer, who am I? Then it's Ainun.Najib. The name is Tafaulan. I don't know what is the English of Tafaulan from Kiai Mbah Cak Nun, because my father was a huge fan of him, and when he got me as his first son, he wanted to, as you know, as always santri tradition, right? So my father wants to get a name from his kiai. He didn't want to give a name on his own. So he decided to get his motorcycle, go from Balong Panggang, from Klotok where I was born, to Bungah, because my father is alumni Komarudin, Pondok Pesantren Komarudin Bungah. So along the way, he had to stop at a gas station. And in that gas station, for some reason, he was reminded by, his mind was reminded to Mbah Cak Nun. And then he was thinking, his name is good because it means a clever eye, a noble eye, a majestic, a dignified eye, a royal eye, basically, right? So, but then he already set out the mission to ask for name from Pak Kiai, right? Almarhum Kiai Ahmad Muhammad Al-Hamad. So he went ahead and so on to the Kiai and asked, what name should I give for my first son? And then the answer from Yaimat at that time, I think you already have a name. You already have a name. Use that name. So, and therefore, my name was given as Ainun Najib. And of course, with the correct spelling, yeah, EYD, ejaan yang disempurnakan. It's with J, it's not with DJ. So I mentioned briefly earlier, so I was born in a small village. Definitely not like Yogyakarta, that's very close to the center of civilization. Yogyakarta itself historically was once the capital of Indonesia, right? When Indonesia was Republik Indonesia Serikat, very briefly, the federal state of Indonesia. So for my village, is probably closer to the ancient capital of Indonesia, of Majapahit. So it's in Gresik side, but on the southernmost part of Gresik, there is already closer to Mojokerto, closer to the capital of ancient Majapahit. So yeah, I'm born in this place, Klotok, Melompangan, Gresik, and then I did my study from a very humble madrasah ibtidaiyah in a very small village nearby my place. And I went here because my father was a teacher there. My father, as a civil servant, as a PNS, right, was assigned by the Ministry of Religious Affairs to teach in this school, in this very remote village. It's not that far from my village, but it is still considered remote because this road that you see here, it's already having a paved block road, right? But I clearly remember during my study there, it's jeblok during the rain. What is the English for jeblok? I don't know. Do English people actually see jeblok so that they can have a name of that? Maybe they don't even have a word for that because they don't experience jeblok probably. But yeah, it's very muddy. The road becomes very muddy, and even motorcycle can't even pass when things are really bad. So it was that bad at that time, and it is still kind of remote because this is, if I use Google Street View, even now, this is the corner already. I cannot go further. So the Google Street View actually turned back after reaching this point. So I cannot go in front of my school because Google Street View did not go there. So it is that corner of the village. And what you see here is a very nice brick laden building. But during my time, it was very humble, very very sad actually, very sad state of infrastructure. But yeah, I went there because my father taught there and eventually became the principal of the madrasah there. So my my early childhood education is a bit pampered because you know how it's like in Indonesian culture when you are son of the head of the school, right? Like how you treat the khusus, the kawakis, the asparagus, right? So yeah, it's a bit not really psychologically healthy, I would say. But nevertheless, I then focus on. I love mathematics. I focus on mathematics. Join a number of competitions, even since the madrasah. And my father was quite ambitious. He wanted to show the world that a madrasah student can actually beat a sekolah dasar student in competitions. So that was kind of a mission also. And especially when at the end of the school, I actually got the highest UAN, highest NEM, nilai Eptanas murni at that time. Yeah, it's already abolished now. There's no more UAN, there's no more UN, right? So I got the highest, and it was quite a shock for others because typically the highest rank is taken by the favorite sekolah dasar in the area, in the kecamatan level. I was almost like in the kabupaten also, but there was 1 or 2% higher than me from Duduk Sampean at that time, I think, if I remember correctly. Then I moved to an SMP near my place, and it's also not that. I mean, it's at Balong Panggang. It's about 2 hours away from Surabaya. There's a direct link, direct BEMO to Surabaya. And in this humble SMP secondary school, I was also continuing to join a lot of science competitions, mathematics, physics, etc. And yeah, kind of surprise others also that someone from a village like secondary school could beat top students in Surabaya. And yeah, and then after that, after I finished, my teacher suggested me to either go to Taruna Nusantara or SMA 5 Surabaya, which was the best SMA negeri in Jawa Timur at that time. But well, my father didn't want me to go too far probably, and also maybe I was too short. I'm still short now to join military style Taruna Nusantara then. So I went to SMU Negeri 5 Surabaya, and there I was blessed that and I was very lucky. I was very grateful that I was able to be admitted into the school, because in this school there were even more stepping stones for me. Because I was in this school, I was able to know about International Mathematical Olympiad, because my senior was represented Indonesia. I can't remember. I think in the 1998 to join the competition, the International Mathematics Olympiad. So it inspired me, and I set it as a mission. So I remember when I entered the gate of the school, I actually saw the banner saying that congratulations or welcome Dedi Nur Zaman. I mean, my senior's name is Dedi Nur Zaman, from International Mathematical Olympiad. And I was like, oh, I didn't know there is International Mathematical Olympiad. And because I love mathematics, then I set it out. I made it as my mission that I want to get into this. So Alhamdulillah, in my second year of high school, and on top of many other competitions that I won, also I was able to get a top rank in the national selection for Mathematical Olympiad. And I was trained in the Olympiad camp together with many other students from all the corners of Indonesia. From, I remember Makassar, Nusa Tenggara Barat. There was some people from Medan, from Sibolga even. Um, and yeah, we were put together for 1-2 months. I think it was 2 months. It was quite long in Bandung, and then train to prepare for the mathematical Olympiad. And Alhamdulillah, I represented Indonesia in 2002 to Glasgow, Scotland. So that was very interesting experience because in one shot, that was my first experience to ride a train, because it was the first time for me to ride a train from Surabaya to Bandung for the Olympiad camp. And it was also the first time for me to get a passport, first time for me to ride a plane, an airplane. And that airplane goes directly or goes to Singapore, and then from Singapore goes to Amsterdam. We transited at Amsterdam, Schiphol. And then from Amsterdam goes to Glasgow, Scotland. Yeah, probably we made another stop. I can't remember. Oh no, it was direct from Amsterdam to Glasgow, Scotland, all in one shot. It was almost like a 24 hours journey in total, I think, if I remember correctly, on the airplane, because so many stopovers. I also remember when we transited in Singapore, we were actually in the same flight together with the Singapore team. So it was, wow, okay, I'm now seeing the Singapore mathematical Olympiad team. They were, yeah, I mean, Singaporean being Singaporean, so I came to know, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, and then after that, thankfully also because I was in that camp, then it becomes another stepping stone that someone from Nanyang Technological University in Singapore came to every single Olympiad camps at that time, mathematical camp, physics, biology, chemistry, you name it, computer, and they recruited students, talented students to enter NTU Singapore. So then, funnily enough, I was actually very interested about technique machine, because I was just around that time, I won the national competition of mechanics, the physics, basically, right? Physics, mechanica, physica mechanica, right? So I actually wanted to go to technique machine, basically, but then I did not know what is the English of technique machine. I was looking for machine engineering. Believe it or not, I was looking for machine engineering, and because in the options for NTU there was no machine engineering, then I thought, okay, I'll just pick which one that I am most familiar, and I then pick computer engineering. And Alhamdulillah, because of that mistake, then I get into computer engineering, and it turns out that when I graduated, the field of computer becomes very hot field. It becomes, I graduated in 2007. And at that time, there is no startup. There was no startup at all in this region. There was already startup, of course, in the US, but I think it wasn't that popular enough. A lot of our unicorns in Indonesia were actually founded in the year 2012. Most of them, like Traveloka, Grab, and Gojek, all three of these were founded in 2012. So yeah, so I count myself to be very blessed and lucky because of that mistake, quote unquote mistake, but I believe it was guided from above, right? It was chosen by Allah that I made that mistake, that I did not know the English of technique machine, because it turns out to be NTU actually have technique machine, which is properly called mechanical engineering, mechanical and production engineering. At that time it was called. So so funnily enough, I was what do you call that, given hijab that I did not know the English of technique machine, so that I would have chosen the right path, which is computer engineering. And then, yeah, and then since then, I then I work in professional field, in computer professional field. I started off in IBM, and then joining Traveloka because I wanted to move into analytics data science world. And then I joined Grab 3 years ago, and in Traveloka I built the whole team, and in Grab I am responsible for a relatively much smaller team, but creating similar kind of impact as well on the field of data science, analytics, AI, and machine learning. Other than that, I also do kawal-kawalan. So in 2014, and then repeated in 2019, myself and a number of friends, we started kawalpemilu.org, and then Kawal APBD in 2015, then set up Code for Nation, a community of people who code to solve nation's problem. And with this community, small community, we then did Hackathon Merdeka. We conducted Hackathon Merdeka 3 times in 2015. And Hackathon Merdeka 2 was particularly amazing because it was the largest hackathon at that time in the world, because there were 1,700 participants from, I can't remember how many cities, maybe around 30 or 50 cities all across Indonesia, and a few cities outside of Indonesia. And then now in 2020 and continuing still until now, unfortunately, Kawal COVID-19.id. It's unfortunate that this pandemic have to continue on. And I don't know, maybe in future there will be another set of Kawal. And tonight we are talking about Kawal Mimpi. Very interesting title. So what is the world of data? What is the world of data science, analytics, machine learning, and AI? Maybe I'll just skim this through quickly, and then we can jump to question and answer. It's more exciting. So data science is a combination of 3 fields. It's a combination of mathematics and statistics that is used to analyze data. It's combination of that with the computer science, because the data that you analyze is now much bigger than it used to be in the past. You need more computers processing to be able to do that. And then you need the business domain or the domain knowledge. Combination of these 3 is called data science. And then what is machine learning? Machine learning is just a technique whereby you get machine to learn based on the data. Just like when you teach children, for example, right? I have 3 children on my own, and the youngest is 5 years old. So when you teach a toddler, right, you show them something repeatedly, right? So let's say this is number 1, and then you show number one. A couple of times, then the toddler will understand. The baby will learn. Okay, this is 1. This is 1. Right? So same thing, machine learning is called machine learning because your computer, your machine, you give them data multiple times. So many number of data, so much data, typically in the range of millions or even billions data points, such that the machine then can learn. Based on this data, then they can identify pattern and formula on their own. So that's machine learning. And then within the field of machine learning, there is a specific thing called deep learning. If we have time and we can discuss about that, we can also go deeper into deep learning as well. And it intersects, these 2 things intersect with AI, because AI is actually just a machine that can make decision intelligently. So it may or may not use machine learning. You could do AI by just creating the logic. Or building the rules or the patterns directly, rather than getting them to learn, getting the machine to learn from data. Yep, so these are the types of what we do in data. We do, the most basic is we do reporting, and then on top of that, we do analysis. On top of that, we do monitoring. And then once we are able to understand patterns, then we start doing forecasting. With the machine learning also, we can then do predictive. And finally, most importantly, is prescriptive, like anticipating the future and then what needs to be done. This is an old photo, but this is the analytics team at Grab. I think this was taken 2 years ago, definitely before COVID-19 pandemic. I should have updated this photo. But yeah, this is this is at that time was almost the whole team, but now it's much bigger. Now it's 100 plus people, and I'm responsible for 30 of them. So around 1/3 or 1/4 of the whole analytics team at Grab. In a technology company, you will see things like this, PUCA. There is a lot of volatility. There's a lot of dynamics, changing nature. There's a lot of uncertainty. Things are unpredictable. Because we have to think very creatively to respond, and there are uncertain things, right? Suddenly pandemic hits, and then our transportation business get hit, and our food business, delivery business get a bit of a bump, but not that much to counteract the downside of transport and things like that, right? Then there are complexities, and within it there are also huge degree of ambiguity. Now, in this era of technology and data, and this is particularly for all santris, yeah, for all santris, you need to prepare yourself in these top 10 skills. Complex problem solving, critical thinking, creativity, people management, coordinating with others, emotional intelligence, judgment and decision making, service orientation, negotiation, and cognitive flexibility, meaning you are able to learn, relearn, unlearn, and things like that. And specifically for artificial intelligence, there will be huge shift. A lot of work will be shifted by AI, and therefore physical and manual skill and even basic cognitive skill will be replaced by AI. Therefore, you need to prepare with higher cognitive skill, more social and emotional skills, and then entering the field of AI itself, then you need the technological skills. I also want to close this with this very awesome quadrant from Kai-Fu Lee. Kai-Fu Lee, you should Google his name. He has a very good book that I highly recommend everyone to read, which is called AI Superpowers. And if you are not into book, or yeah, I mean the gist of the book is presented in a TED talk, TED talk by Kai-Fu Lee. You can search for his talk, right, about AI and humanity. So he made this 2x2 matrix, and he presented this in the TED talk, where two dimensions here. One is that job or task require creativity or strategy or not? So that's the horizontal dimension, right? The more to the right, that means there is more creativity required. The more to the less to the left, that means there's not much room of creativity. It's just routine. It's just repetition kind of task, right? There's no creativity because it's already established. It's just, you just need to repeat an established process or established rules. And on the vertical side, the dimension of compassion or empathy. So there are jobs that, you know, it requires compassion, and there are jobs or tasks that do not require compassion or the human touch in it. So why these two dimensions? It is because both creativity and empathy, compassion, right? Creativity and empathy are the two things, and maybe the only two things that AI can never do. AI will never do, because AI will never have empathy. Empathy is a human thing, right? AI will never have compassion. They won't even have emotion. They may be able to mimic our emotion or understand our emotion based on the machine learning, but they won't feel it. They cannot feel. And then creativity is also something that AI, at least for now, will not be able to do, because as mentioned, AI or machine learning, they learn from by mimicking. They learn by given examples. We need to give data, a lot of data, for them to see the patterns. So they cannot create something new. They cannot be inspired. They cannot have ideas. So these two things are the very two things that AI won't be able to replace human. Now, if a job or a task requires both creativity and requires compassion as well, then it will be human. It will be completely human. It may be helped a bit by AI. Plus, that's why there is a plus AI here. If the job requires creativity, but do not require much of compassion, then it will be an augmented kind of thing. So some part of it will be fully replaced by AI, but another part of it will be just augmented by AI. So that's why it's this kind of mix. If it requires compassion, but it does not require a creativity, then it will be a human on the outside, meaning it's actually human doing all those things. But that human is empowered or leveraging AI at the core. Because it is repetition, right? It is repetition. Repetition of something that require compassion. An example is if you are a nurse. If you are a nurse, then it's very clear what the patient needs. The patient will need exact set of medicines with the exact set of dose. They will need exact set of treatment. There will be a lot of measurements to be taken, etc. But the process of doing that will require human touch. And that's why it's human on the outside, but it will be powered at the core by AI. And then, unfortunately, for type of jobs or tasks that it doesn't require creativity at all, and it doesn't require compassion at all, those kind of job will be fully replaced by AI. Clear example is, for example, truck driving. Truck driving in the US is quite a huge job sector. Some estimated that almost 1/3 of jobs in the US are actually truck driving kind of or logistic kind of job. So unfortunately, there is not much creativity there. You are getting the truck from point A to point B. And there is not much of compassion either, because it's just you're moving goods, you're moving containers, right? So there's already a lot of self-driving cars and self-driving trucks already on the road now to execute this and fully automated by AI. So what are the examples of those kind of job? You can see here very quickly. Yeah, so maybe I'll just close with that. Maybe it was also too long, probably. So sorry about that. And we can move to Q&A. I can't hear you, Pak Yasvi.
Check. Okay. So
Okay,
sorry.
right.
Okay, good, Ainun. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. So, yeah, what a great presentation about how Santri can, how Santri can go to Decacorn of headquarter. So here I will say a little bit with loud voice. I'm so sorry, because I don't. Since here we have rain, little bit heavy rain. Yeah,
Okay,
but
I can't hear the rain,
yeah,
but I can hear you
yeah.
clearly. No worries.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. But hopefully, what you delivered just now, all of the Santri understand that nicely. And then for Santri, so just a little bit thing that I will share to you here about Gus Ainun. If you hear his story before, it was about how he can go to how to his place right now, because actually he want to go to mechanical engineering, but yeah, because he said that he make a mistake about what computer engineering, and then he take the major of computer engineering. So, but that's not a mistake, of course. But that the way that Allah direct him to go to computer engineering. Okay, now is Q&A session. Okay, Santri Putra, Santri Putri, you may raise your hand if you have a question, please. Yes, Mbak Zakia, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zakia. I want to ask how to like mathematics. Do you hear me? Thank you.
Okay, Santri Putra.
Okay, already unmuted. Sorry, so the question was how to get interested or how to be able to love mathematics, yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me myself, I think I came built in with that. It's a blessing for me myself. I think I was blessed with the love of mathematics and since early childhood days also. But I would say why we should love mathematics is I think aside from the firman of Allah, the Quran, and the way Allah speak to us through the Prophet, right? So aside from the Kitabullah and Sunnatul Rasulullah, I think Allah asks us to also understand His language from ayat kauniyah point of view, the language of the universe, for us to observe, tadabbur, and appreciate how amazing all this. And it's very clear that the language of the universe is mathematics. All sciences, all lies on top of mathematics. You know, I mean, let's say, for example, let's start from social science. Yeah, social science is a science on how societies interact with each other, on how people interact with each other. So, what is social science if not psychology of individuals multiplied to massively to many people, right? So social science is based on top of psychology, and same thing can be said for economics, for example, because economics is also like psychology of people when dealing with resources. And then what is psychology? Psychology is just a science on how human think. And how does human think? It's actually signals in our brain, in our neurons, right? So what is psychology if not on top of biology, right? The biology of human. And then what is actually biology? Biology is actually interactions of cells with other cells. And if we talk about even like viral kind of biology, which now is quite a focus of the world now, then there is this field called molecular biology, right? It's actually interaction between molecules of the virus and the cells, etc. Right? So what is biology if not on top of chemistry? Interactions of molecules and elements, right? And then what is chemistry if not interactions of atoms, individual atoms, with different setup of protons, neutrons, electrons, right? So what is chemistry if not on top of physics, right? And then what is physics? Physics is just our understanding of universe, the alam that are not ghaib, alam jadak, right? Alam yang that we can observe, empirical universe. So what is physics if not our understanding of individual components of universe following a very clear qadar, right? A very clear calculated set of rules. Like if I throw this mouse, right? I mean, with the force that I can calculate, then it's almost, and then the friction of the air that I can calculate also. It's very possible to calculate the speed of it and how long it takes to reach my other hand very precisely. And because of this, we are able to then have a sultan to then reach the moon. And even now we are planning as a humanity, we are planning to reach the Mars, right? And I think United Arab Emirates have already launched a rocket to the Mars as well, right? So what is physics if not on top of mathematics? So why we should love mathematics? I believe it's because it is also just like Nahwu, sort of mantek and balaghah is the rumus, is the formula, or is the ilmu alat to understand the language from Allah in His Kitabullah and Sunnatul Rasulullah, then mathematics is the ilmu alat for us to understand the language from Allah from His ayat kauniyah. So maybe that's what I can offer about why we should love mathematics.
Okay, thank you very much, Gus Ainun. So that's Gus Ainun, yeah. That's the answer of how to love math, yeah, Mbak Zakia. And then now another question. We have also a question here in chat, but I think for Santri Putra and Santri Putri first. Okay, yes, Mbak Ulia, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Kuya. I want to ask, what is computer engineering? Thank you.
All right. So what is computer engineering? Maybe I will put it in relation to or as compared to computer science. And then there was also some other field of information technology that's called information systems and many other field of study as well. But let's just focus on computer engineering and computer science. Now, put it simply, computer science deals with purely with the software, with the abstraction or with the logic, with the algorithms side of computing. So that's computer science. But computer engineering not only deals with the software part, algorithm, logic, etc., but also on the hardware as well. So that's why in my 4-year study at NTU, I was also doing chip design. I was studying about logical boards. We do like even electrical, some electrical experiments as well. Then there was a subject about control and instrumentation, which is more of an automation, robotic automation kind of field. Like if you have to move the hand of the robot by this much, how do you make sure it starts smoothly and it ends smoothly? So that's a control and instrumentation. The whole field of control and instrumentation was very, very, very interesting history, because it was invented by the German during the World War when they designed the tank, because the tank have to move their the cannon very precisely and very effectively, right? Because if you move fast, then you will overshoot, bablas, right? But if you move too slow, maybe it's accurate, but then you lost the battle because you got shot first. It's too slow. So then the German invented the field of control and instrumentation using what they call as a negative feedback loop approach, that ensure that it can move fast, but then also then accurately stop and then shot. So very interesting history, very bad, very bloody history, but then it becomes very useful for automation of industries and then robotics as well. So that's one example. You don't learn this in computer science. You only learn this in computer engineering. Some people also say that, computer engineering is just half of electrical engineering combined with half of computer science. That's probably true also. Yeah. So I hope that explains. So although it's not really used by me for now, because I don't work in the hardware field. I'm specifically focusing on the software side, not really dealing with the hardware much. But yeah, who knows? Maybe if I enter the field of IoT, Internet of Things, or AI on the edge. AI on the edge means you implement the AI on the device itself, not in the server, but on the individual device itself. So let's say you have a drone, and then within that drone, you already embedded the AI so that the drone can actually move around on its own without having to connect to a server where, okay, I see an obstacle in front. What should I do? And then the server goes back and say, you should do this. You should turn left. Right, but rather you put the AI itself within the drone so that it can automatically now navigate. So that's also probably when, if I ever enter that era in the future, I don't know, maybe then I, I will need to revise my my old computer engineering knowledge also. Yeah.
Okay, Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. And I think still, because we still have another agenda, this is the last question. The last question, it comes from, okay, who? Raise your hand. Yes. Okay. Yeah, Mas Ray, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My question is, how can you still be a santri in that area?
Sorry, can you repeat that again?
My name is Ray.
Can you repeat your?
And my question is, how can you be a santri in that area?
How can you be a santri in that area? Not sure if I understand the question. Maybe someone can help me
Okay. I will try. I will try to understand the question. How can you still be the santri, right? And at that area, I mean, you are now in the headquarters of Grab, and then how can you still be a santri there? I think, is that the question, Mas Ray? Yes. Okay, because I know.
Okay. Okay. You know, at the end of the day, humanity or human, we as human, we have purpose. We have purpose in life. And I figure out that this is what differentiates us, for example, na'udzubillah, with the people of so-called science, but who are deluded and they become zindik. They become atheists, right? Na'udzubillah from that. Na'udzubillah min dhalik. May Allah still always bless us with His guidance, His hidayah of iman. So what differentiates us with those people? Even though we are in the field of science, even though we are in the field of technology, even though we are, let's say, in the field of biology and we understand all about, say, the theory of evolution and all those things, even though we are in the field of physics, quantum physics, and we kind of understand how the universe, the building block of the universe are put together and interact with each other, right? What differentiates us from those people who went astray, na'udzubillah min dhalik, is that we believe there is a purpose, there is a meaning to all of this. And that purpose is to be Abdullah, to serve Allah, to do ibadah for Allah, to be grateful of all these blessings of being created. And for humanity specifically is to become the Khalifah fil ard, to take the responsibility bestowed upon us, put onto our shoulder, to lead this earth, right? And maybe beyond, maybe we will colonize Mars like Elon Musk want to do, right? Maybe. Basically, to become Khalifah in this planet and other planets too, to make sure that we do the right thing. We become rahmat lil alamin. We become rahmat to the earth, to the animals, to other people. We become khairunas anfa'uhum linnas, right? We become the best of people who are beneficial for other people. So that's what essentially differentiates us from other people of science who don't believe in God or don't believe in religion. We believe there is purpose, that the universe was created intentionally with purpose and always taken care of by Allah as our Rabb, the Rabb of the universe, the Rabb of multi-universes, alamin, right? It's multi-universes. We don't know whether Allah created other universes beyond our universe too, right? That it has purpose. And therefore, with that principle, right, if we know that we have a purpose, we serve a purpose on this earth, wherever we are, whether we are in the field of technology, wherever we are, literally, like whether we are in Indonesia, a Muslim majority country, whether we are in villages with very pesantren kind of culture, or we are in the cities, in the big cities that probably lost the culture of religiosity, or like myself in non-Muslim majority countries, right? I'm still blessed that 1/6 of the population are Muslim, and there's a lot of Islamic culture here as well, and Islam is not prosecuted unlike in some countries out there, right? But yeah, wherever we are, even if we are in China, even if we are in the US, even if we are in what is the country with the highest atheism now? I think it's Scandinavian country probably. Yeah, or China. I think China is actually the highest in atheism. Even if we are in that kind of place, we always remember that we have a purpose, and that purpose is to serve Allah, to do the right thing in the eyes of Allah. And keeping true to that principle, then you will always be a santri. You will always want to learn how to do your mission of life better, how to achieve that purpose of life better in your individual field of profession, in your individual context of skill sets and challenges and strengths and weaknesses and potentials, your talents that you have. You will always be a santri.
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. Because Ainun, we still have some santri that want to ask. Yeah, they are so interested with a lot of things actually.
Okay. We can continue on. I don't mind, but I don't know for your schedule.
Okay, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Yeah. Okay, now the next question, Mas Haikal, right? Okay, please, Mas Haikal.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So my question is, my name is Haikal, and my question is, how can we learn math with fun? Because most of students in Indonesia thinks that math is the most hardest subject in the school. So how can we learn math with fun? Thank you.
You know, the hardest subject I remember throughout my whole study was Arabic. That was the hardest subject. And now I kind of regretted it that I quote unquote did not like Arabic, because now I'm very weak in that, such that I felt at loss, that I am not able to understand and appreciate better our sacred text. Right? I'm not able to read kitab, basically, right? Put it simply. And it's very difficult then for me to unlock the wisdom, the insights from our past scholars. And it's a huge loss. It's a huge, huge loss. So why I'm telling you this is because I think at the end of the day, everything has to start with why. Everything has to start with a reason. Everything has to start from the purpose. Again, we are a purpose-driven being. We are created and blessed with all this around us, our potentials and our blessings that Allah has granted us with. All are not in vain, right? All are with purpose. So we always have to start everything with that purpose. And intention is like a beginning of the purpose, right? What do you intend this thing for? Or what do you want to achieve? Right? That's why innamal a'malu binniyat, right? You have to always start with purpose. You have to always start with why. Now, if you know the purpose of studying something, you know what you want to achieve with that, then you will understand that it is important. So when you know that something is important, the possibility is two. One is, it is hard, you don't like it, but because you know it is important, you persevere. It's almost like jihad, right? The mental model that you should use is jihad. It's hard, you don't like it. Maybe it requires struggle, it requires effort, but it's important. So you see it as a jihad, you see it as a mountain that you have to climb, you see it as challenges that you have to overcome. You see it with the mentality of no pain, no gain. It's painful, it's hard, but if I don't swallow this pain, if I don't take this bitter pill now, it will be even bitter for me in the future. Like just what Imam Shafi'i said, right? Those who do not want to feel the bitterness of study will have to feel the bitterness of ignorance in the future. And it's much, much bitter, much, much more bitter. So that's one possible option. You see it as, yes, it's hard, but I must persevere. I must overcome. I can do this. I will achieve this. So that's one option. But another option is you make it fun. It is hard. It is difficult, but you know that it is important. And because you know that you have to go through it anyway, because it's important, right? Just like, let's say you want to go to Jakarta, and from Jogja to Jakarta, you can take a train. You know that the train is not that comfortable. It's like like that, right? I mean, it's very bumpy. It's very bumpy. It's noisy. It's probably a bit unsafe as well. It's probably once in a while a bit smelly. I don't know, depending on which train you take, right? You know that it is hard, but you have to reach there. You have to reach Jakarta. So, okay, what can you do? Then you can choose to make the journey fun. You enjoy the view. You enjoy when you pass through Jawa Barat with all the green fields, with all the greeneries. You choose the schedule where you will be able to enjoy those, right? Instead of passing through Jawa Barat at night, then you won't be able to enjoy that, right? You get the schedule where you can reach those beautiful landscape during, let's say, dawn or early morning time, and you get the most beautiful view that you can get, right? You make it fun. Specifically for mathematics, how to make it fun. This is unfortunately is also the problem with our curriculum and the way things are delivered, that mathematics are not put together in a fun way. But I hope it is being fixed now as we speak, because there's so much of improvement in the field of our education in Indonesia, including in the curriculum itself. But for you, you shouldn't wait for that. For you, you can open the internet, you can find YouTube videos, and you can find, let's say, fun with mathematics, or how to, let's say you are currently studying about, I don't remember now, quadratic equation, let's say. How do we learn quadratic equation with fun? You can find those in YouTube, and there are so many different people creating so many different fun videos on how to learn. So maybe that's what I would suggest you to do, because probably our curriculum has not given you the justice, has not given mathematics the justice of making it fun, unfortunately. But yeah, that doesn't mean that you have to be stuck with that. You have the world at your fingertips through the internet. I don't know how much internet is allowed in pesantren of Karuna, because I think a lot of pesantren are also limiting the accesses and especially gadget, etc. So I don't know, but that's one possibility. You can then explore this together with your ustad and with your teachers.
Thank you very much, Gus Ainun. So here, yeah, in Afkaruna, of course, Santri now is still limited with the internet connection. So they still can access the internet during in madrasa in computer science class. But here
Okay.
in Mahat, for the first year especially, they will focus on the fundamental thing like such as tasawuf, akhlak, and nawusaraf, and other ilmu alat and so on. Okay, do you still have another question, Mas Mbak Santri? Yes, Mas Naufal, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Naufal. My question is, what can we do to save our ozone layer while most of citizens in this world don't care about this problem?
That's a very intriguing question and very, very good question to be asked. I think you're referring specifically to the climate change challenge that the world is facing now. Partly is related to ozone, but ozone is actually an old thing. This is not just about ozone anymore now. It's the increase of the temperature of Earth atmosphere that resulted in so many drastic changes, like a huge chunk of ice in Antarctica. Like it's almost like you imagine like Pulau Jawa is a bunch of land, right? And then Madura is separated from it, right? Now imagine Antarctica is a continent, but instead of continent of land, it's actually continent of ice. And then imagine like major part of it are broken because they are melting due to the increase of temperature. And not only Antarctica on the southern pole, but also on the northern pole as well, on the Arctic circle. I think in the Greenland as well, there's huge chunk of iceberg. I think it's not called iceberg. It's called, yeah, maybe it's called iceberg. I don't know what it is called, but resulting in that. And I just came across a very shocking news, a very interesting visualization also, that the climate of Gulf Stream is being affected badly. And because of this, then if this trend continues, the climate of the northern part, especially the Northern America and on the Europe and maybe a bit of the Western Africa, and possibly the Middle East, because it is connected through the Mediterranean Sea, right, will be impacted. And this reminded me to a hadith prophecy that some of the signs of the end of times, which mean it will happen, right? I'm just hoping that it doesn't happen in our lifetime, right? Azifatil Azifa, but please don't go that fast. Don't, Kiamat sudah dekat, but don't be that near, right? I mean, let it happen not in our lifetime, right? Then one of the signs is the isthmus, the isthmus of Arabia, the land of Arabia will be green again. And you know, the only thing that will make it green again is when there is a climate change. Because it's currently a dry climate, a desert climate in Arabia. So I don't know. Hopefully not, but this could be a process of fulfilling that prophecy of the end of times. What did I want to say? So how do we save this, right? How do we save this? Honestly, I think at this point of time, there is no other way but the governments of the world just have to do massive, drastic policy. We as individuals may not be able to do much. We will have to do our part. For example, being Khalifah fil Ard, we reduce our carbon footprint, we reduce our non-recyclable waste, right? We reduce, we use energy conservatively, right? That's our part. But those are not enough. Those are not enough because it has been shown from the pandemic accidentally, right? But the world now has seen the biggest quote unquote lockdown worldwide that forced people to stay at home. Majority of people, I don't know if majority or not, but the biggest number of people for the longest possible time ever in modern history to reduce their activities, right, happen in this pandemic era. And it turns out that it didn't affect much on the climate change. So it's like, even if everyone on earth, individual people, take our part, that is not gonna solve the problem, unfortunately. So what will solve the problem? That this will require massive, drastic change of policies from the governments, because a lot of things that still operate throughout the pandemic are things that are defined by the government. For example, the manufacturing industries, the let's say the energy industries as well, right? A lot of it are fossil fueled, and yeah, releasing a lot of gases. And even food industry, because believe it or not, one of the biggest contributor to global warming is actually cow's fart. Kentutnya sapi, cow's fart, because cow's fart contain methane gas. And the cattle farming throughout the world contributing a lot to the methane gas. And they consume a lot of water as well in the process. So, you know, this kind of thing won't change without drastic and coordinated conscious effort by all governments in the world. But yeah, unfortunately, this is a very gloomy answer, but I'm just posing the reality as I know it. And for you, the younger generation, you have to do your parts. We have to do our parts. And hopefully, inshallah, when you become the leader of the world, at least the leader of your city, your province, or even leader of Indonesia, then you will push and campaign to enact the policies, the right policies, as a Khalifah fil Ard that will conserve and treat the earth properly.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Thank you very much, Gus Ainun. And also thank you very much for all of the santri here. So after this, Gus Ainun, would you please still stay there since we still have a wording night? And I would like to say thank you very much about what a great presentation and all of the things that can motivate our santri here. And we also ask for your dua for our santri here, for all of the santri here, as well as the mushrif-mushrifah of Afkaruna Islamic School, as our dream that is to make them become Al-Insan, Al-Kamil, and locally rooted global citizens. So that's our dua, and also we need you for doing dua for us about that. Thank you very much. And after this, we will continue for the next session. That's all from me. Wallahul muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Masya Allah, what a fruitful and enlightening sharing session from Gus Ainun Najib. I never can thank you enough for your time tonight.
Hopefully, we can really apply the insight we got from your adventure and experience. Jazakallah khairan kathiran, Gus Ainun Najib.
Before you leave, would you please announce the winners of these 8 awards? Thank you, Gus Ainun.
For those whose names are mentioned, please come forward.
Assalamualaikum, Gus Ainun. Would you please read and announce our winners of this Salapan Award? I believe you have the list.
No, I'm not sure where the list is.
Okay.
Is it in my email or something like that? Or?
It's in Pak Yasfi's WhatsApp.
No. It's okay.
Okay.
Found it. Sorry.
Get ready, Mas and Mbak.
All right. So how do I read this? Do I read from the? Okay. Okay. I just read by sequence. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I missed this message. All right. So the award for tonight. Dang.
Get ready.
The first one, Cleanliness and Tidiness Award. Another Fatu Minal Iman ini. So who will get this? For Putri, it starts with S. And the initial is SN. It is Mbak Salsabila Najwa. Congratulations. And for Putra, it starts with M. It's Muhammad. Okay, how many Muhammads are there? It's Muhammad Al-Haq. Congratulations. For Cleanliness and Tidiness Award for Putra, for the boys is Muhammad Al-Haq, and for Putri is Mbak Salsabila Najwa. Do I move to the next one, or is the awarding gonna be given first for the first one?
Yes, we can continue for the next character.
Okay. All right. So I'll just read the next one. Yeah. Sorry, this is my first time doing awarding online. Usually you got a plaque that you have to give, right? So unfortunately, there's no that plaque tonight. All right. The second category, Exemplary Santri Award. This is Santri Teladan, ya. For Putri, it starts with S again. Oh, wow. What a night for S girls. The initial is SA. It is Mbak Sofia Ayuna. Congratulations. And for Putra, starts with N. Okay, how many N are there, ya? Initial is NF, Mas Naufal Falahuddin. Congratulations. All right, this is fun. And finally, the last category, the last award for tonight, Afkaruna Character Award. What a character. So the idiom what a character could mean good things or bad things, and usually it's sarcastic things. So when you say, wow, what a character that you have, it's actually a sarcastic thing. It's a bad character. But that's not the character award tonight. This is definitely for good character. Having great communication skill, apparently. So for Afkaruna Character Award, for the girl, for Putri, it starts with A. Wow, how many A's are there? Initial is AM Mbak Azaita Mayaza. Congratulations. And for the boys, it starts with R. Initial is pretty unique. RJH, it's Mas Rejadda Hajira. Congratulations. All right.
All right.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Gus Ainun. So yeah, Bapak Ibu and everyone. So these are the winners of this Salapan award. Okay, so we give this award every Salapan, which is 35 days. So it's also our effort to take our Javanese culture to Muriuri Kabudayan Jawi. Yeah. And it's so interesting that we have some santri over here and this Salapan, especially for the character award. Hello, Mas Duis.
Dinun, this is Dinun.
Oh, Mas Dinun, sorry. I always have it. Okay. So for this Salapan, for the Afkaruna Character Award, we have 8 characters of Afkaruna, and this Salapan is for it changes every Salapan, and tonight it's character. The character is communication skill, and for the exemplary is for the one who has the overall best achievement in that Salapan. And the Cleanliness and Tidiness Awards is actually the newest award, which is just the first one this Salapan. So thank you very much for Gus Ainun to announce the awards tonight. And also for Mas and Mbak, once again, it's not a competition between each of you, but it is a competition with yourself, yeah, with the old you and the new you. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. So I'm going to give this now. Okay. All right. So I will give the certificate. Pak SV will give the certificate to the winners. check and would like to invite Bunyai to give the certificate for Mbak. Right, thank you very much, Mas and Mbak. You may go back to your seat, and let's continue with the next session. Thank you.
Congratulations for the winners of Afkaruna Award this Salapan.
Now, let's take our group picture together. Everyone, please look at the camera. One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. Open your video, please.
Open your video, please.
Baru nyadar kalau di foto Zoom maksudnya kalian foto di sana. Itu Zoom ya.
Bilang kakak.
Iya.
Kakak.
Kakaknya.
One, two, three. Please open your camera.
Open camera. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of tonight's event.
Let's end tonight's event by dua. For K. Samsul Ma'arif, we would like to ask to lead the dua.
Al-Fatihah. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد صلاة تنجينا بها من جميع الأهوال والآفات وتقضي جميع الحاجات وتطهرنا من جميع السيئات وترفعنا بها عندك أعلى الدرجات وتبلغنا بها أقصى الغاية من جميع الخيرات في الحياة وبعد الممات. اللهم تقبل منا صلاتنا ودعاءنا وجميع عبادتنا يا مجيب السائلين. اللهم أعنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك يا عبادك الصالحين. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وارحمهما كما ربونا صغارا ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد نورا من القبضة الرحمانية وأفضل الخليقة الإنسانية وأشرف الصورة الجسمانية ومعدن الأسرار البانية بخزائن علوم الاستفائية صاحب القبضة الأسفية والبهجة السنية والرتبة العالية من درجة النبيين تحت لوائه فهم منه وإليه وصل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه عدد ما خلقت ورزقت وأمت وأحييت إلى يوم تبعث من أفنيت وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your enthusiasm tonight. We apologize for all of our mistakes.
I'm Nisa.
And I'm Shifa.
We are signing off.
Akhirul kalam, wallahu muwaffiq ila aqwamit thoriq.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Matur sangat, Gus Ainun.
Sami-sami, Pak Yai. Ngapunten kan.
Mas Yai Muntahibun Nafis wonten Tulungagung.
Oke.
Ada Mas Daniel Alkam sama manggilnya Mas Daniel ya, walaupun sudah sepuh tapi auranya masih muda. Alhamdulillah. Ada Pak Cita. Walaupun Mas aja saya manggilnya Pak ini. Ada bapaknya Syifa ini kayak luar kota ini. Mohon maaf ini.